Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I want to talk about grants. There's been a lot of talk about grants today. I want to talk about the ones where my community groups and schools and environment groups have worked really hard to put together something that they hope is going to be assessed on merit. And that's exactly what we have done with the grants programs that the government has asked members of Parliament's offices to administer. With all the paperwork that involves, we have put a high level of probity around it because we care to make sure that these grants are fair. This is important funding for these community groups, and they want to know that it's a level playing field. The sports rorts affair has given them left a really bad taste in people's mouths about the quality of the assessment process by the government, not by the department, which clearly prioritised the grants that it thought would rate really high in terms of the measures of criteria it had. But then that was just completely overturned, and it came down to colour-coded decisions. So I want to talk about the panel that I put together to make sure that the Stronger Communities grants, the Local Schools Community Fund and the Communities Environment Program grants were properly assessed, and talk about some of the people who have been successful in achieving those grants. I also want to point out some of my issues around these grants. We get way more applications than any of these funds will allow to be distributed. For Stronger Communities grants, it's not surprising for us to get more than $1 million worth of applications for $150,000 worth of funding to be spread throughout my community. There is a huge need in the community for support for groups that are run by volunteers, for sporting facilities, for community facilities, to be able to keep on upgrading and meet the needs that are growing in the community. Because when governments step away from providing services, volunteers and community steps in, and they need support to do that. So, if a government like this one is going to continue to cut budgets for government-funded services, we really need to see massive increase in the funds that we get to support our volunteer, very hard-working community groups. And I want to talk about some of those. In the Hawkesbury, the Stronger Communities Round 5, there was a huge number of people organisations who applied for this grant, and we looked at it very seriously as how does this strengthen our community. I'll talk about some who were successful in their grant application. The Hawkesbury District Agricultural Association is a real cornerstone in our community. Our Hawkesbury show, which this year takes place from the 1st to the 3rd of May, and I'd encourage everybody in this chamber to come and visit the Hawkesbury show. It's the largest show in New South Wales outside the Royal Easter Show, and much easier to navigate, much more fun, much less stressful, but still an incredible show to visit. There is always a need for upgrading facilities at the showground, and the Hawkesbury District Agricultural Association does a huge amount on very little, so it's great to be able to provide them with an additional $10,000 to be able to upgrade the amenities that they have there. I was also very pleased to be able to support a not-for-profit aged care facility in Windsor, Fitzgerald Aged Care. And this is a really important organisation, and in fact, one of the processes we have in place is that when I have a personal connection to a place, we declare that, and the panel makes decisions around it. And this is an organisation that many years ago I was on the board of, so I have got to know it very well. And the panel that I put together decided that we would be able to approve $10,000 for them to upgrade their gym equipment, because there's nothing more important for older people than to keep physical and keep active, and the mini gym will do just that. We also looked at providing funding for the Australian Foundation for Disability in South Windsor, and theirs was for interactive and sensory equipment. Again, the sort of thing that really makes a difference to the quality of life for the community members who are there and brings more community members in to use the facilities. I'm very pleased that the St Albans Volunteer Bushfire Brigade have a very deserving electronic sign for fire danger, and I'll talk more about them at a later date. Let's turn to soccer, Wilberforce Soccer. They've been trying to play soccer in the dark. That's what happens at Woodland Oval, and the Hawkesbury Sports Council applied for lighting. This was something that I had hoped we would see happen. I made a commitment prior to the election, and on its merits, it was considered by the panel as being a really worthy cause, and I'm very pleased that that was able to happen. And they'll receive $20,000 through the Hawkesbury Sports Council, which basically prioritises the projects, and that will go to that wonderful Wilberforce soccer community. Just before Christmas, I was able to celebrate their Stronger Communities grant with Windsor Girl Guides at their Christmas party. They need a new roof. These are the sorts of things that make a difference when it rains or when it hails, and now the Windsor Girl Guides are going to be able to do that. And the First Glossodia Scout Group equally will have hot water, a hot water system, thanks to the Stronger Communities grant that we were able to give them. And the Richmond Girl Guides will be able to continue the work they're doing on their really lovely blue meeting space. Must be almost heritage listed. It's got a lot of Hawkesbury flavour to it, and they'll be able to continue improving it and have somewhere to store the materials that they use. So they were some of the Hawkesbury Stronger Community Round 5 grants. There was also a timing and starter kit for the Hawkesbury Amateur Swimming Club at Hobartville, a group that, you know, I really admire the families and volunteers of people who swim. It's always an early start, it's always lots of laps, and everything we can do to help them will make a difference. And the last sporting one is the Lowland Wanderer Soccer Club at Richmond, and I've left them to last because I'm really looking forward. I'm very pleased to see that we were able to give $5,000 to this organisation for a kitchen upgrade and to improve some of their seating. And I'm looking forward to getting in that kitchen. I hope it's the new kitchen I get to help out in. But the volunteers at that club do an amazing job, and it's really great that these facilities can have an upgrade. Now, Deputy Speaker, I'll turn to the Blue Mountains. I have two quite distinct parts of my electorate, and the panel takes the view that there should be a very even split between them. In the Blue Mountains, again, we saw fantastic applications, and I'm very pleased that a number of children's services are able to do more and deliver more to their community. The Blackheath Kookaburra Kindergarten is going to have bathroom renovations, you know, the basic stuff that makes a real difference to not just those children but to the adults caring for those children. We'll also see improvements in Katoomba at Gateway Family Services for the playroom that they use there and the equipment that's in there. Again, really recognising how important learning through play is for the youngest members of our society. And for Euroka Children's Centre at Blaxland, they will now have the opportunity to experience an edible community garden in their facility thanks to this grant. All wonderful projects to be able to support. Katoomba Rotary, people know that I have a long history with Rotary, not with this Rotary Club in particular, but I continue to see really good proposals coming forward from Rotary clubs, and like many members here, I'm an honorary Rotarian of one of my many Rotary clubs. I'm not sure that you can be a member of Rotary and a member of Parliament because the obligation to be involved with your Rotary club is paramount and it's very difficult. So I've accepted honorary membership. and support them fully in the things they do around youth exchange, leadership development, group study exchange, all the incredible things they do, fundraising for wonderful medical causes, including seeing an end to polio. And they are great fundraisers themselves. So for Katoomba Rotary, it's great to be able to support them with a new catering trailer that will allow them to travel around within the community and do what they do so well. Another group that makes a huge difference to the quality of life for people, and this is for people going through dreadful illness, is the Cancer Wellness Support at Lura. This organisation's request was very modest. They wanted air conditioning. Now, you don't normally associate the upper mountains with hot days, but the way things are changing, they are finding more and more often the days are hot, and to provide an appropriate environment for the cancer patients who they support and for the volunteers and the team who work with them, it is just a delight to be able to provide air conditioning through this grant program. The Central Villages Anglican Church focus on many different community things, one of which is about youth, and they needed a slightly better audiovisual and sound system to be able to do what they do, bring people together. So they received a small grant to assist them to do that. Radio Blue Mountains in Katoomba is one of the really important community institutions we have run by volunteers. They will also receive equipment to funding to upgrade equipment. I started out in community radio. I know how important it is to provide training to people as they move, learn how to communicate and move through sometimes a journalism career, sometimes just representing their community. So congratulations to Radio Blue Mountains. And I think I probably missed a couple here. No, just one. Of course, there's always soccer. The Blaxland Football Club has received $10,000 to improve its field with goalposts and fencing. Now, we are a bit of a soccer community in the Blue Mountains. We like to call it football. And while my children were never a member of this club, the Redbacks, we competed with them fiercely. So there's some of the stronger community grants that we were really pleased to do. People who applied for those grants know there were decisions made on merit. They know that we agonised about which groups would receive funding because, quite frankly, so many of them were so deserving. I'd really encourage the government to put more funding into these grants programs that support our community. They make a huge difference.